A very good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon. I hope you all have, the people who have prepared for, who have attempted this exam yesterday. I hope you have done well. Uh, the others, we would see what are the learnings which we needed for this, and the people who did not attempt at all, what are the prospects for the next year. We'll discuss all these kind of things. Myself, Venkatesh, faculty for geography at Testbook. So I will welcome all of you to Supercoaching UPSC by Testbook. So here, the basic object of today's session is, how many questions of geography asked, what are the sources, how we need to prepare for the next year, what are the learnings of that for the next year and all. We'll be seeing that, and then we'll move forward to the remaining things. So if you see yesterday's paper, I think you all might have, especially the ones who have been preparing consistently since the last few years, right? If you are thorough with your conceptual clarity, if you are good with the decent current affairs, not in detail, but the current affairs, regular following of the current affairs in the last 2 years, I think you should have fairly done well yesterday. One good surprise, one thing is very clear. UPSC is now almost like, one thing is sure, that unpredictable nature is being continued. When we all have expected that the paper would be anything like difficult, here you see the paper has been fairly medium level, easy level and all, especially the GS paper 1. You have seen so many things from geography especially. The number of questions are 16, a fairly high number, and fairly out of the 16 questions, many of them I hope are ones who have with conceptual clarity. They should have easily could have done this paper really fairly very well, right? So let me see some of the comments of some of the aspirants here. Let me open the comments first. Okay. Yes. Sharing Taman, good afternoon. How are you doing? How did you do yesterday? How did you do? I think the ones who have attempted yesterday, especially like sharing Tamang and all, I hope now this is the time for you to relax. Yes, whatever has been done has been done. What you need to do and all, we will discuss that later on. But definitely, I would like you to all of you to relax and all. Okay, then, right, it went well, says sharing Tamang. Good, that's good to know. I'm really glad for you. Glad for you. Right. Okay. Then, so see one thing, what my observations were done last year from yesterday is, I have done some kind of comment. Let me check that my own comment I have written. Okay, let me check my own comment. Okay, one interesting comment I have done that. Why do you think that UPSC is very difficult? Why do you think that UPSC is very difficult? The unpredictable nature is what it makes very unpredictable. If the questions are tough, I fairly feel that last year paper is one of the right opportunity which will distinguish each one of you. This year is like, very difficult, easy topics, because the number of questions are fairly easier, approachable questions. What happens is the cutoff would increase. When the cutoff is fairly less, is very challenging, that is when actually you have a high chance of clearing the exam. That is what personally I feel. Of course, every one of you, depending on your preparation levels, depending on your understanding, will be having different approaches. But this is my personal approach, that paper is easy. The hard work which you have kept in for understanding a certain topic, there is no differentiating factor, because many of the others also would be fairly doing well. So the closeness would be much more high. That's the thing. So that's what. If your cutoff is high, then is one challenge, cutoff is low, there is one challenge. That's what the beauty of this exam, the unpredictable nature which makes it damn tough. Right? This is the number one learning I had from yesterday's paper. And if I observe, once again, polity is back, right? Geography basics are back. Mapping fairly is there, but not that high. But conceptual clarity, the number of things are fairly high. That I have observed. Then CSAT, still it is not that high, not that easy as many of you are assuming. I have spoken with some of the non-mathematical background students. They still say that it is really tough enough, especially the English passages. I heard that they are really tough, right? So they do have some kind of challenges and all. Whatever, my objective today, geography, answers, MCQ practice and getting the right answers and all is what I am trying to tell you. Say example, if you see it here, what happened to this? Okay. Now, geography, there are at least 16 questions plus some current affairs mapping, which can be current affairs plus IR or plus geography, whatever. So overall, the number of questions asked from geography are quite high enough. Okay, let me see some of the answers here. So this is the question we have, one of the first question, and then if you are having set A, the first few questions all are geography. So people who like geography, they might feel that, oh, what kind of question paper it is, wonderful. The people who did not like geography, you feel that all the 10 questions are geography, what kind of paper is this, right? That's how you will feel the intuition. The first 10 questions of set A are fairly geography questions. If this is the first question, now you see this one, the atmosphere is heated up more by incoming solar radiation than by terrestrial radiation. Carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are good absorbers of long wave radiation. Which one is correct in respect of the above statements? Which one is correct? Which one is correct? Huh? Which one is correct here? Let me see the comments. Okay. Okay. So if you see it, the atmosphere is heated more by incoming solar radiation. If the atmosphere is heated more by incoming solar radiation, there has to be more heat at the mountains, Himalayas. There has to be more, Shimla should be a hottest point and the coolest point should be the plains. But you all know that plains are hotter and as you go by altitude, temperature decreases. So definitely the statement 1, the atmosphere heated up more by incoming solar radiation than by terrestrial radiation is wrong. Carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are good absorbers of long wave terrestrial radiation. If you see it, sun incoming, largely transparent. From here, there would be terrestrial radiation, greenhouse gases absorb the terrestrial radiation. So carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases are good absorbers of long wave terrestrial radiation. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is incorrect. The right answer is 4. And if you see one of the approachable thing I'm trying to tell you here, probability of a qualifier getting it right. Qualifier getting it right is high. In fact, I would say they would. Whoever qualifies, the probability of a qualifier getting it is very high, and it is regularly covered in all the basics. I'm glad that it has been covered in my subject as well. People who are my students who have listened to my sessions, I clearly say this example that the earth is not heated up from the incoming radiation but the outgoing radiation. We have done the diagrams even in our sessions, right? So that's the number one. Let's go to the number two question. Number second, thickness of the troposphere at the equator is much greater compared to the poles. At the equator, heat is transported to greater heights by strong convectional currents. Which one of the following is correct? Right. Naresh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Naresh. Right. Which one of the following is correct? Try to answer this. Try to answer this. What is the answer, Naresh? Let's leave sharing Tamang today. Let him have relax and watch this video because he has written the exam yesterday. Others can help me out. Right. Now, if you see this question, you see this one. The correct answer is option A. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. The reason is simple. If you see this is the globe, this is the equator, and whenever we have drawn the troposphere, how do we draw the troposphere? The tropopause line, is it not, we'll draw like this? What does it indicate? It indicates it is more expanding 16 to 18 kilometers at equator and just 8 kilometer at poles. Thickness of the troposphere is very high. Why do you think it is high? Equator receives vertical rays of the sun. A vertical rays of the sun, what happens? There is more air which expands and rises. And also there is a latent heat which would be released. So a combination of that is the reason why thickness of the troposphere is greater. So thickness of the troposphere is greater at the equator. Yes. Why it is greater? Because of convective currents. Both are right. Didn't we discuss the topic of convection? Didn't we discuss the topic of convection in detail? Didn't we discuss the troposphere is the most important weather layer? Reasons why, normal lapse rate. We have explained all these kind of things. And in fact, one of the suggestions I have always tried to tell you, previous year questions, doing it is a must and should. If you see last year's paper, this year's paper, this question, I can fairly say that this has been repeated from last 2 years ago. There was a mains question where they asked, troposphere is the most important weather layer, why or how? You can talk about the same question being repeated. So definitely this is the thing. Then what is the probability of a qualifier getting it right? Probability of a qualifier getting it right is, qualifier, what will he get it right? Yes. Yes. Is it regularly covered in my sessions? Yes. Is it being discussed regularly? Is it being part of the textbooks? Regularly, yes. So NCERT's textbook material, my sessions, all have covered wonderfully about this question. Let's go to the next question now. So very easily this question. Let's go to the next question. Now this is from geomorphology. Volcanoes. After a long time, there were some MCQs which are concentrating on the concepts associated with geomorphology. That is one of the new thing which I found here. Pyroclastic debris, ash and dust, gases of nitrogen and sulfur, that is nitrogen compounds and sulfur compounds. How many of the above are products of volcanic eruptions? So volcano, once it erupts, remember in the sessions I always used to say volcanoes are meant for, as they erupt, what do they erupt? They erupt a variety of materials. It is not just about lava and magma. That's what I used to say. Lava is interior, lava is outside, magma is interior. So along with this, there are so much amount of ash, clouds, dust particles, gases, which are what we releases, which is what we call it as volcanism. That is what we discuss, no? So what are the things which are right? What is the answer for this? Definitely it is all of the above. Yes, my dear Naresh, you are right. You can see all of the above. So pyroclastic debris, ash and dust, nitrogen compounds, sulfur compounds, all of them are right. What is the probability of a qualifier getting it right? High. Yes, qualifier will get it right. Is it regularly covered in the sessions and in any NCERT book and the material provided by textbook? Definitely yes. So this I would fairly expect. Some of the thing might assume. See, in the class, when I have said that, sir, gases are the ones which are the sources, nitrogen compounds and sulfur, N2O, S2O, acid rain. Whenever there is a volcanic eruption, there is a possibility of acid rain. If that is the case, automatically this would be the right. Both would be there. Yes. So now some of might assume that we haven't seen this one, we have seen only this one and all. There is some kind of a trickiness for some. But for me, it's very, very clear. Both of them are very, very right. Then moving forward, let's go to the next one. Answer this one. Question number 4. Question number 4. So try to answer this. Try to answer this. Okay, what is the answer? Is it done? Have you gone through it? If you have done, let me know. If you are done, let me know. Okay. So which of the following are correct inferences with respect to isothermal maps in the month of January? So there is isotherm. Isotherm means lines joining equal temperature. And we all know that January and it is the month of January and July which are the two extremes. So when you calculate about the temperatures between January and July, so here they are talking about January. The isotherms deviate to the north over the ocean, to the south over the continent. So where do they deviate? The bending. Remember in the sessions I always used to talk about the bending. That's the thing. Presence of cold oceanic currents, Gulf Stream, North Atlantic Drift make the North Atlantic Ocean colder and the isotherms bend towards the north. Select the correct answer using the code given below. So what is the answer? The right answer is one only. So if you see, now imagine this is one continent, this is one continent, this is ocean, and this is the line. Right, Naresh, you also have given an attempt yesterday. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, there would be some learnings for you, I guess. I think if you have seen, the number of classes you have listened for geography is hardly 3 or 4, if I'm not wrong, Naresh. I think the first 3 or there are so many questions which are asked in the 3-4 sessions we had. Am I right? Right? It's luck, pure luck that, many of the questions which were discussed in climatology, the basics of geography I discussed. It's fortunately that those were the questions which were asked yesterday, right? Sometimes it happens, right? Okay. So that's the thing. Now, if you see here, now if this is an isotherm in January, now what is the observations you have in from January? What is the observations you have in January? Now we all know that if this is a continent, generally land is known for what? What is land known for? Rapid heat and rapid cooling. Water, slow heat, slow cooling. If this is the case, there would be much more cooler temperatures here, and that fairly, if you see it from here, point A, point A, point B, and point C, and this is point D. Now, if you observe, A temperatures would be much more cooler and B would be relatively warmer because land is most rapidly heated up. So, ocean would not be that heated up. So, it is slow cooling. And here is what he's talking about, coolingness. January is the month, assuming which of the following are correct from isothermal maps in the month of January. Okay, assuming this is part of the northern hemisphere. If we assume this as northern hemisphere, this is the assumption we need to have. Okay, the isotherms deviate to the north over the ocean and to the south over the continent. North over the ocean, north over the ocean and south over the continent. The isotherms deviate to the north over the ocean. Now you see, this is rapid cooling, and fairly such kind of cooling would be observed more with the latitude, and once again it will be like this. Now what is happening? In the ocean, they are deviating to the north and to the south over the continent. Clearly you can see the bending is more towards the north and then south. So this statement is right, and in the Atlantic Ocean, the presence of Gulf Stream and the North Atlantic drift should actually make it warmer than it is cooler. So assuming it is northern hemisphere, the right answer should be 1 only. But what if, because they did not say anything over here with respect to northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, if I take the entire globe, then definitely 1 should not be the option at all. It should be then neither 1 nor 2. So this one, now what is the interpretation of UPSC? Whether say assuming northern hemisphere, or whether they say if it is the entire globe, we did not mention about northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, it would be the entire globe, then the answer would be D. So for me, this is a possible answer as well, along with 1. So maybe this is the one which I'll keep it unless and until UPSC comes with a clarification on the question. Right. Okay. Will you agree with this, all of you? Sharing Tamang, Naresh, will you agree with this approach? Is there any other alternate opinion you have, all of you? Right? Will you agree with this? Shall I move forward to the next question now? Shall I move forward? Right. Next one. Which one of the following countries are well known as the 2 largest cocoa producers in the world? 2 largest cocoa producers in the world. Now, do you remember in the class, I always used to say, whenever I discuss about the British climate, what is the thing I used to tell you? When I discuss about the British climate, I always used to tell you this. What is that? During the British climate, in the British climate, where the temperatures are fairly, pleasantable for the humans and all, climate is very, very pleasant. I always told you that this is the best time where you can, that is the reason why dairying is very, very practiced. They are very, very good dairying. Netherlands, butter house of Europe, Denmark, okay, cheese maker, the chocolate, Swiss, Belgium dark chocolate. I used to tell this. The milk dairying is all from this part, and we import the cocoa, the most important for the chocolate industry, from Ghana. Ghana happens to be one of the topmost country in terms of cocoa, right? And if you see it here, there is one such country like Ghana here. So definitely, and if you see it from that side, the right answer should be The right answer should be third one. So that's what the observations. Now you see, not everything can be clearly mentioned as we discuss in the textbooks and in the material and all. Sometimes you have to observe, carefully correct it. So I would say this is a fairly medium question, not an easy question as such, but definitely I would know that many of them would get it right. 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 If you know it from Ghana, you get it from Cote d'Ivoire and all, which is very, very near to it. It is the African coastline, which is known for African regions, which are known for cocoa. That is how you can get it right. So fairly, this is the right answer. And what is the probability of topper getting it right is also very, very high. Qualifier getting it right is high, or maybe medium to high. Just at the border, they might be pushing towards the high rather than the medium. That's what I would say. But definitely, I would say it is fairly high. Let's go to the next question, all of you. Let's go to the next question. Now, this is a very interesting question. I think, you know one thing, after so many years, there is a first question on River Ganga in UPSC Prelims. Observe all the last year questions on rivers, last few years questions on rivers. We hardly find this question. After so many years, there is a question on River Ganga. In the class, I always used to tell you this. If you remember the last few years, I used to tell you, last few years, there was not even one question on Ganga River. It might come. Finally, it was arrived. So that's the thing. With reference to Himalayan rivers joining the Ganga downstream of Prayagraj after Allahabad, from west to east, that is from Allahabad, Prayagraj, from Prayagraj, as you move towards Bihar and all, what is the right answer? You have to see it. If you see it here, one thing is very, very clear. If this is Prayagraj, and if this is Bihar, UP, we all know that 𝐂𝐨𝐸, sorrow of Bihar, 𝐂𝐨𝐸. So 𝐂𝐨𝐸 would be the most option D, right? If that is the thing, yes, Shika said 𝐵𝐸𝐸, Ghaghra, Gandak, 𝐂𝐨𝐸. That's the right answer. Option B. Option B. If you see it here, 𝐂𝐨𝐸 should be the last one. Automatically, you have the confusion between Ghaghra, 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸, Ghaghra, 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸, and 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸, Ghaghra, and 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸. And you all know this trick I told you. Whenever there is a confusion between two options, you have to attempt it for sure. If you know from the basic thing, 𝐂𝐨𝐸, sorrow of Bihar, that is the easternmost one. So automatically you are getting confused between A and B. Then if you are not part of this region, definitely you should take a calculative guess which is right. 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸, Ghaghra and all. So it is the 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸 which comes, and then comes the Ghaghra, and then comes the Gandak. The right answer is this. So the reverse like will be this one. 𝐵𝐸𝐸𝐸, Ghaghra, Gandak. So in that way we have, this is the order. Right. So this is what, Naresh, you should not have skipped this question, because you should have possibly known about 𝐂𝐨𝐸. This is the learning for next year. So there is no, you see, you should have done this. I would not I'm trying to tell you this. Yes, you should have done this is also an outcome of our awareness, our understanding, our knowledge, and our confidence about the subject. What I'm trying to tell you is, such kind of questions you should not be leaving in the exam, is what I'm trying to tell you. And if there is a lacuna of knowledge on your part, you have to learn for next year, is what is my approach. No analysis for this year. It's a learning for next year. Okay, right. So moving forward. Now you try to answer this one. Try to answer this. Yes. Now if you see, rainfall is one of the reasons for weathering of the rocks. Now this is one of the new question where they have asked two statements, additional statement. Statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3, and then they are asking. This is a new approach, new kind of a trend, right? Both statement 2 and 3 are correct and both of them explain statement 1. Both are correct and only one is explaining statement 1. Only one of the statement 2 and 3 is correct and that explains statement 1. And neither statement 2 or 3 is correct. Now you see this one. Now rainfall containing carbon dioxide and atmospheric oxygen is fairly correct. So there is a debate about whether rainfall is one of the reasons for weathering. Rainwater contains carbon dioxide in solution, yes. Rainwater contains oxygen, yes. But weathering, which is disintegration of the rocks, which can also happen because of the chemical processes, definitely I would feel that carbon dioxide and oxygen both can cause it. So for me the answer is 1. For me the answer is 1, right? Answer is 1. So there is different approach given. Some might have a debate with respect to whether atmospheric oxygen is leading to weathering of the rocks or not, is the debate here. So carbon dioxide being there and that is relieving calcium carbonate rocks, limestone, and that dissolving, that is causing weathering, that is a fairly happening thing. And even rainwater containing atmospheric oxygen is also a fairly high thing according to me. So for me, the option should be A, not B. But some of them might have confusion with respect to both of this, and some might say it is this. You can go for A according to me, right? I wouldn't say this is not much of a debatable thing, but there are some different opinions by different, geographers. So for me, statement A is the answer. Right. Yes, Shika, Naresh, A is the answer for me. Right. Then next one. Consider the following countries: Finland, Germany, Norway, Russia. How many of the above countries have a border with the North Sea? How many of the above will have a border with North Sea? Answer this one. Finland, Germany, Norway, Russia. Right. The right answer is only 2. If you see it, which one doesn't have it? Which one doesn't have it? Finland and Russia. Yes. Finland and Russia doesn't have a boundary with North Sea. Germany and Norway have coastlines along the North Sea. Maybe a map would have been a fairly accurate one to be shown. I would do that in the Telegram channel. Okay, after the session, I will try to dump these kind of things so that there is a regular order, there is a source, there is an authentication of that as well. I will show you the sources as well. Don't worry, right? Then move forward to the next question. And fairly, probability of a topper getting it right, I would say it is medium to low. Some of you might have confusions because this is not a very regular region. Often when you study, you always study about the Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea and all these areas. We don't study the North Sea and all, but this is what it is for this year. Maybe this question, some of the toppers may also get it right because they also don't observe this carefully. Only maybe geographers who are really good at, they can get that right. So I would say probability of a qualifier getting it right, qualifier getting it right is also low to medium. And is it, I would say this is not an easy question to be answered, though some of them might prepare considering that melting of the oceans, global warming, ice available in the North Sea and all, the ice which is melting and providing the opportunity for, what do you say, some of the minerals and all. There is a talk about the North Sea. North Sea is in news with respect to, deep sea mining. Norway deep sea mining is in news with respect to even minerals of oil in the Arctic region, fossil fuel oil. There is talk about, maybe from that context you can get that. So I would say that still I would keep it medium, definitely not high, but some of them who have seen from this perspective, they would have got this right. Okay, right. So let's move to the next question now. Next question. Now you see this one. Dhaundar, Hundru Falls, Jersopa Falls. Now, if you see this one, now they have given once again 3 options. Waterfall, what is the region and where is the river also. Now, if you see this, for me, Dhaundar falls on the Narmada river is correctly matched and it is part of the Malwa region is right. Hundru river is also part from the Subarneka river is part of the Chotanagpur plateau. Jersopa or the Jog Falls, this is Western Ghats, not Netravati river, but it is Sharavati. So for me, the right answer is this one. Only two. And probability of a qualifier getting it right, this one is also fairly low. This is a random based question. Not everyone would get this right unless and until you have prepared and remember certain things. You cannot get it right. Maybe you can remember Jersopa, Jog Falls, but definitely not Dhaundar or Hundru. Okay. Okay. Yes, Shika, you are saying something? Statement 2 is right. Hundru, Chotanagpur, Subarneka is right. Dhaundar is Narmada. If I am not wrong, it is also part of the Malwa plateau. Maybe if there is any error from my side, I will check that. And I will write to tell you. So this is the one which I would like to tell you because I haven't seen the answer for this. Dhaundar, Narmada I know, whether it is Malwa plateau and all, I have to check that. Okay, moving forward. Now you see this one. This is a fairly question, a question from geography which you should have answered it right as per my understanding. Though it looks very difficult, I fairly expect you to write this question. What is the answer? What is the answer, my dear? Okay. Now, if you see this one, of only 2, option 2 is right here. Now, for me, as I say this one, look at this. The first thing I always ask you to remember, which are fold mountains, which are not fold mountains. Black mountains, Vosges are one of the fault mountains which I have told you. Vosges mountains happens to be fault mountains, right? These are the block mountains. Vosges mountain happens to be a block mountain. And Vosges mountains are part of where? It is in Europe. I think yes, Shika, Naresh, you are saying it right. So this is wrong. Alps mountains are not block mountain, they are fold mountains. Switzerland Alps, fold mountains. Appalachians are the oldest fold mountains when the continents were together, part of North America. This is right. And Andes mountains are the fold mountains formed out of ocean-continent convergence of the plates and all. Definitely this is right. The right option is this one. So I would say that this is fairly tricky, but I expect you to qualify. I expect you to get it right in the exam, without which you cannot move forward and you cannot be competitive in the exam. Right. I expect you to move forward with this, right? Then next question. So probability of a qualifier getting it right is very, very high. That's good. Then next question. Consider the following airports. Right. Which of the following are constructed as greenfield projects? Doni Polopo Airport, Kushinagar International Airport, Vijayawada International Airport. What is the answer? What is the answer? 1 and 2, yes, Itanagar. Now this is part of Itanagar. Kushinagar International Airport, Vijayawada. This is the one wrong. So 1 and 2. These are the recently been constructed as greenfield. You know greenfield? Newly constructed from scratch. Newly constructed from scratch. Brownfield is something like the other one which has been upgraded recently. Right. These are statement based questions. If you have seen this, you will get it right. Otherwise, you cannot get it right. Now, this is a tricky one because not many of you would have known about these things. Now, once again, this is like fairly whether you have covered it or not. A random one which was in news regularly, because there is a focus on infrastructure. If you have seen that, well and good. Otherwise, no and so. I would put this in the medium section. Medium section of the current affairs. Medium section of the current affairs. The next one, water vapor. Which of the following, with reference to water vapor, which of the following statements are correct? It's a gas, the amount of which decreases with altitude. Its percentage is maximum at the poles. Percentage is maximum at the poles. Naresh, you saw in news, that's wonderful. Right. It's a gas, the amount of which decreases with altitude. Yes, it's a gas. Water vapor is a gas available which decreases with altitude because the moisture will reduce, heat will reduce. And naturally, percentage is minimum at the poles, maximum at equator. Second statement is wrong. Right? So the right answer is A, 1 only. This is also a very, very easy question. Right. Right. Yes, Shika. Yes, Shubham. That's it. That's right. Move to the next question. Now, this is the tricky one. Let's see how many of you get this right. Now, you see the options. Annual and daily range of temperature is low. Annual range of temperature, daily range of temperature is low. The difference between year, but from January to December in terms of temperatures, and the daily temperatures between the actual day of daylight and the night, the differences of maximum temperature and minimum temperature should be low, which is correct with respect to equatorial climate. Yes. China type climate, China, Natal type, or the Gulf climate and all, definitely they are in the coastal areas on the Mediterranean region or the warm temperate region, eastern margins. This is warm temperate eastern margin. Okay, let me see this question. Eastern margin. Humid subtropical climate, humid subtropical, something very close to monsoonal, but definitely not the case. Marine west coast climate. Now these are the options. Now you see here, precipitation occurs throughout the year. Precipitation occurs throughout the year. Definitely it is correct for equatorial. But the key question here is, precipitation varies between 50 centimeters to 250 centimeters. When it is 50 centimeters rainfall, it is almost nearer to a desert. That's what, savanna, desert. 50 to 250, this is a good range. Equatorial, in fact, consistent rainfall throughout the year with maximum at equinoxes months. So, in fact, the rainfall sometimes is 250 centimeters and above, sometimes crossing 400, but definitely not 50. So, the moment when I saw 50 centimeters, you should have left over equatorial. You should not have gone for equatorial. So, then one is eliminated from 50 centimeters. Then the remaining things. The moment when I say daily range and annual range, I would remove China type and humid subtropical. Then the only possible version which will substantiate, I don't know anything about 3, but what about 1 and 2? Because it is marine of the ocean, that too west coastal climate, that too of the ocean, tropical marine climate of the oceans, because of the oceans, say like Caribbean islands, say like the regions of Florida and the regions like, Caribbean islands and the Panama Canal and the Central American countries which are in between, for them, if I observe, definitely because it is of the ocean, annual daily range of temperature is low, yes, because of the marine. Precipitation occurs throughout the year, yes, because of the narrowness of the land and more amount of the ocean influence. And definitely because of that, maybe in some of the winter months when the winds are changing, there is a possibility of lesser rainfall. So that's the thing. I'm rather than, yes, as you see this question, this is a very difficult question for from the geographical point of view. Some of you might have gone for, because and first two conditions are met for equatorial, you might have gone for equatorial, but the third option, rainfall of 50 centimeters should be conveniently strong enough to not to say that it is equatorial. For me, definitely it is not equatorial. Right? Right. Got it, all of you? शुभम, यही सोचा था क्या? शुभम शुक्ला, नरेश, शिखा. Right? See, that's the thing. If you see statement 1 and statement 2, immediately when I have read for the first time without reading the statement 3, I also went for equatorial. Yes, in fact, in my first reading of the question paper, I did not read statement 3. Yes. Then as I will read again 50 centimeters, then I found that, oh, this could be tricky. Then I have observed, have thought about it for some time in the exam. After the paper, I was thinking about it, then I got it right. So, without thinking, without just going by the flow, you might have mistaken it. So, it's a tricky question. Tricky question. Probability of a qualifier getting it right, I would say it should be medium. Probability of a qualifier getting it right. It should be medium. Yes. So, in fact, if we have, you should be definitely eliminating this one, equatorial from 50 centimeters. Then you are confusing between 2, 3, 4. Then China type, from China type, definitely when I say that annual and daily range of temperature is low, I would eliminate this. So I would confuse between 3 and 4. Whenever there is a confusion between two options, I would definitely go for it. But you should also come to this level, no? You should have eliminated equatorial, then only you will be having this. That is the trickiness. See, that's the thing. You have to look for 3 statements about each one. That is the beauty of this question. This is a very, very tricky question. Let's go to the next one. Next one. Now, with reference to the Coriolis force? This is an easy question. Coriolis force, easy one. Coriolis force, right? It increases with increase in wind velocity. Definitely Coriolis force is maximum at the poles and absent at the equator. 2 is correct. Okay. This is the question, no? Let's see the next one. Definitely maximum at the poles, absent at the equator is right. That's the reason why cyclones are absent at the equator. It increases with increase in wind velocity. The more the wind velocity, the more the deflections, right? So that's the thing. So cyclones, look at how they deflect almost like a anti-clockwise. It is because of the deflections and the velocities. So definitely both are right. So Coriolis force, one of the favorite question. I would say this question is supposed to be easy for many of you. Right, both are right. Probability of a qualifier getting it right is also high enough and easily covered as part of many topics which we discuss. Right. Naresh should tell me, and I think if I'm not wrong, Shika, you also might have listened to my sessions if I'm not wrong. Is it so? Are you the same person, I guess? Right. So if that is the case, remember I also always used to give the conditions on equinoxes and solstices as part of my classroom notes. Conditions of equinoxes and solstices. We always used to discuss this. So if you see this one, this is a fairly easy question for many of you, right? Right. So fairly easy question. In fact, this topic is being asked regularly. The reason why I have given a table is always in tune with the requirements of the exam. So in the exam, since 2018 until now, 6 years, on the same topic, it was asked 3 times. So every alternate year, I am getting a question on this. Why would I leave that? Why would I leave that? Now on June 21st, which is the summer solstice in northern hemisphere, experiences a sunlight of more than 12 hours. So definitely more than 12 hours. It is longest day in northern hemisphere and it is only 12 hours at equator. So it is 12 hours at equator. It is Tropic of Cancer, it is more than 12 hours. Tropic of Capricorn, southern hemisphere, it is less than 12 hours. Arctic Circle, northern hemisphere, once again, it is more than 12 hours. In fact, it should be nearer to 24 hours, right? The concept of day or night. 24 hours of daylight is observed beyond Arctic Circle. So, based on that, the right answer is 2 and 4. And the probability of a topper getting it right is also fairly high. It's a very, very basic question. And my students, I think this should, it is the best example. The one who is commenting now, Naresh, he has listened to this topic just on this coming last Thursday. He was my student in the latest batch. And in my first session, when I have discussed basics of geography, this question was covered. Yes, I would fairly say that, sometimes it's also luck from my side if I see it that whatever I had taught, that is a question which has been converted. But fairly, our objective during the sessions, what I used to do is make you realize, make you fall in love with geography, realize, get the conceptual clarity. That's what my role, which I always focus on. And sometimes if luck favors like this year, the number of questions tends to be very, very high, is what my general opinion about, an institution or a faculty claiming about the questions. See, that's the thing. The beauty is we are here to help you, right? That's the thing. Then as you move forward, yes, next question, yeah, 16th question. Of the following regions are the world's largest tropical peatlands, which has about 3 years worth of global carbon emissions from fossil fuels, and the possible destruction of which can exert detrimental effect on climate change. Which one of the following denotes this region? Now, if you see this one, definitely, what is a peatland? What is a peatland? Anyone? Peatland? Peatland is decaying organic matter. Decaying organic matter. Definitely they are having more amount of carbon which is stored, which can be released and all. So definitely it can, so once if peatland is destroyed, whatever the organic matter which is stored and all, if it releases carbon dioxide, is fairly dangerous. So based on that, if you see it, it will definitely not be Amazon basin. Amazon basin, because it is much more higher one. It's the Congo basin. Congo basin. That's the thing. Congo basin is the answer. Right. 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 Yes, Shubham, what happened? 2 करेक्ट हो गया. ऐसा कौन सा कंफ्यूजन था जो आपको लगा कि आप वो सही हो गया? हाँ, ऐसा कौन सा कंफ्यूजन वाला था? Then next one you have question 17th and all. These are from environment point of view. We will discuss that later on. We will discuss that later on. So there are some kind of other questions are also which are asked. Okay, remaining things, whatever the other ones, I will see it later on. I would see it later on. Whatever the other questions and all. I hope you got this wonderful analysis about the things. I would say definitely say all of you, the cutoff, let me realize, as of now, I realize the cutoff should be around 95 plus or minus 5. 95 plus or minus 5 is what I assume about the cutoff. But with more people telling me about CSAT paper and all, once I start speaking with some of the aspirants who have written well and all, what are their performance and all those kind of things. After 3-4 days, there is a final prediction I will be doing that, so which will be the combination of surveys which I get out of some of the students. There can I fairly predict about the cutoff then. As of now, whatever is the cutoff, people who are scoring, anyone who is scoring more than 80, 85, start preparing, take a gap of 3-4 days. Okay, now this is the time for your friends and family, your loved ones. Refresh yourself for this 1 week. By next Monday, come back and start preparing for your mains exam. I have some wonderful mains discussions. I'll be doing it from the upcoming days. I will tell you about my plan and all those things in this week. And as you move forward, right, as you move forward, what I'm trying to tell you is, anyone who is scoring more than 80, calmly prepare without worrying about the prelims result. Anyhow, prelims result comes in 3 weeks, not more than 3-4 weeks in this era. I think if I'm not wrong, in 16 to 18 days they have given the result once. So fairly they are doing very well in terms of giving the result of the paper. So definitely wait for do not wait for it. Don't worry about the result. Whatever you need to worry about, you need to worry about your processes. Where did you go wrong? Why did you go wrong? What is your mental aspect? Whether it is lack of knowledge, lack of skill, lack of calmness in the exam, or blunders which you have done in the exam. Worry about that. Leave remaining things. Okay. Start preparing for the mains from the after 1 week and continue this regardless of your qualification of the prelims exam or not, especially the ones who are at the border. Yes, definitely. The ones who have cleared the exam, they would be focusing. The ones who could not clear, I don't want you to leave this time frame. In fact, the next 3-4 months should be the opportunity of improving your knowledge so that you will focus on these kind of things very well. and you have to utilize this opportunity of knowledge building for your growth. This is what my objective is. That's it then, all of you. One important announcement, in my Telegram channel, I will be giving you the PDF file of my analysis. I'll be giving you also about, the thing like something about, about the model answers, the MCQs and all these kind of things, my analysis and all. The main sessions which I'll be doing it from next week onwards, the schedule and all I'll be informing you. You can get into my Telegram channel. And more than that, any one of you, if you need any kind of a discussion about what is your score, any kind of worriness, do you want to have a conversation, please don't hesitate to drop your message in my Telegram channel, so that automatically we can have a conversation. If needed, we can contact on phone. If you are from Hyderabad, we can meet if needed, and I would try to help you in terms of giving a right path of what should be your approach for the upcoming years. Right? That's it then, all of you. Have a wonderful time. Take care. The ones who have prepared, who have attempted, relax yourself. Come back with a pleasant mind again after a few days. Until then, have a good time. Enjoy the holidays now. Now you deserve a holiday. By the way, you want to know which web series to be watched? Definitely drop a message as well. I can also suggest you what web series to follow. Yes, on a funny note, you might have much better alternatives to tell me which web series is good enough. Right then, take care. Thank you. We'll see you again tomorrow at same time. Thank you, all of you.